Yes, great to have your company here on 100%. Massive show. We're about to turn into the second half of season 2025. We've already had a full season worth of stories and we've got a bit to chew through tonight. Evening, Paul Galvin.
Hey, Brace.
Cameron Smith.
G'day, James.
Top dog.
James Bracey, how you doing?
Very well, still on top.
Yeah, it's only halfway through the year. Halfway through the year.
Marathon, not a sprint, eh?
100%. Yep. Melbourne Cup, not an Oakley plate.
Well said. All right, what did we learn from the round that was? Let's whip through it tonight. What do you got for us, Gus?
What did I have? Oh, the mindset of a champion. I want to look at Nathan Cleary's goal kicking from Wednesday night, where he had a terrible night with the boot, totally unfamiliar to him, and he was really worried about it. You could see he couldn't work out exactly what was going wrong. Andrew Johns blamed the footballs. Everything, all sorts of theories were coming out, yet he turns up 3 nights later and bang, 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 3 straight from the sideline. Have a look at these. Hit them as sweet as you like. Now, I want to go to the game's greatest ever point scorer in Cameron Smith. Did you ever have a bad day with the boot and you couldn't really work out what happened? And how mentally does that affect you when you go back to practice and start to kick again?
Of course. Yeah, I had plenty of off days with the boot, and you're sort of trying to work out what's going wrong at the time. You sort of got to put it aside and worry about your main role, and that's to go and play football. But I'm sure Nathan, after Wednesday night, he would have kicked 1,000 footballs to fix up and come out and kick the way he did on Sunday.
Goes and gives it to Lomax, then Lomax.
Oh, it's hilarious.
Too good.
The best.
Should I told you it was the Bulls?
Yeah, that's right.
Cameron, what did you learn from the latest?
I learnt the Penrith Panthers, they are not a spent force. A lot being said about their season so far. Running 17th in the competition on Sunday before this game. They win this match. It was a lot like the Panther of old. High completion rate, kicking long to corners, making Parramatta come out of their own end for pretty much the entire second half. And they were a little bit ill-disciplined early, which that was an aspect of their game that Ivan Cleary wanted them to fix from last week. But the Iceman, Nathan Cleary, 2 huge plays at the end of the game, come up with a 40-20 and then managed to score those points and kick a goal and just really put them ahead, and they're back.
It's a good game of footy too.
What are they now? 3
they're
points?
14th. They're 3 points outside the 8, but Parramatta give it to them. Parramatta had a good crack.
It's amazing.
It's a good game of footy.
Start the round in last and then be 3 points outside the 8 in the back of 1 win.
Yep.
Gal, for you?
Mr. Alex Johnson, 200 tries, scores himself a hat-trick on the weekend. The second man in history to hit 200 tries, and congratulations. Incredible. What an effort. I've never been the biggest fan of wingers, but they are such an important part of the game these days. And this bloke is an absolute freak. Some of the tries he scored, I know some of them have been easy, just catch and put them down, but some of the tries he scored have been absolutely amazing. And he was unreal the other day. Got himself a hat-trick. The troll inside him helped him out a couple of times, but it was fantastic. So 200 tries, mate. Congratulations. I hope you're going to break the record. All the best.
He's actually had a few injuries and missed a lot of games in his career. He had a whole season off where Robert Jennings scored 20 on the left wing for South Sydney. He was one of the leading try scorers. He could be on 230 already if he hadn't had the injuries he had.
So what's it now, 12? Is it 12?
12 to
go.
Yeah.
I need to apologise for last week too, guys. I actually left when the fireworks started, so I missed out on that, so I'm very, very sorry. Thanks for covering for me. But on positive news, we've got another undercard for my fight night. Gus versus Shemus, as well as James Bracey and Carlos Stefanovic. It's all coming together. That's been around for ages, that one. You're trying to take his job.
He wants his job.
Mate, I'm very happy he's
It's all coming together.
Right?
It's all coming together.
Enough out of you. I don't mind the other fight, though. Have a good round 2 coming your way to a screen very soon when Gal's getting a big earn. Now, let's get back onto the footy. Back-to-back wins at Suncorp Stadium for the Blues for the first time since 97, 98. And now they're eyeing off back-to-back series wins as we head from Brisbane to Perth.
It is a spine-tingling atmosphere here at Suncorp. It is packed to capacity. You can feel the electricity.
Prepare.
Full time, New South Wales 1-0 over Queensland.
I feel pretty flat, to be honest, about our performance.
We didn't see the best of this Queensland team, and that's what I'm most disappointed about.
Harry Grant. Oh, he spilt it.
Like many of our players, Harry wasn't at his best tonight, unfortunately.
Well, I'm sure if Billy Slater, he'll have some stern words for his team members.
Pass, rumbling back.
Payne's injury, we weren't sure with that either. He hadn't really trained, and then to push out the minutes and be strong the way he was inspirational.
I'm with our man of the match at Payne Haas. Congratulations.
He goes to Edwards. He fires it to Crichton. Crichton for the corner. Across to Zach Lomax.
So are you hoping that Billy shows faith in you and that you would turn this around?
Yeah, definitely. I guess with losing comes the question, so we've opened ourselves up to these sorts of questions, but yeah, I'd love the opportunity to come back and correct it.
Cleary, Moses, brilliant hands!
First time they'd played together, I thought they were terrific.
What about Robert Toya? Billy, it was a bit of a bright spot. What did you make of his debut?
I actually expected him to play like that, but that's why he's in this position, and I thought his debut was great, so he can hold his head up high.
And the score is 18-6.
It's a series of 3, and that's still alive, so we'll be going after it.
Yeah, we've got no doubt about that. The determined Billy Slater speaking after his side's opening loss on their own turf. Gus, you've come away from that opening match pretty confident about the way it sits for the Blues at the moment. I imagine your mind hasn't changed since Wednesday.
No, one thing Origin taught me that it is a 3-game series and you need to improve in every moment of that right through the series. You get, by the third game and by the second half of the third game, you should be at your peak. And I think there's a lot of improvement in this New South Wales side. I thought their performance the other night, whilst most people are calling it dominant, I thought it was really controlled, it was physical, and it was conservative. I think there were a lot more opportunities for them in that game than they even explored. They didn't try to move the ball all that much. So Queensland have got a lot of improving to match what New South Wales did in game 1, but it's where New South Wales get to in games 2 and 3 that should have them a little more worried. And I don't think the answers are all readily there. Origin's Origin, though. We know Queensland will bounce back and we know that there'll be a different complex. This game started really well for New South Wales. They got a flood of possession early, they got some penalties early, their forwards were able to get their domination, and once they got to the front, they really didn't let Queensland back into it. The next game could start completely different. Queensland could dominate early, jump out to a 12-0 lead, and we know they've got the spirit and the tenacity to hang on. So nothing's decided, but I think if New South Wales can learn from winning, which is you learn more from your defeats, but in Origin you've also got to learn from your wins. If they can improve some more, they're going to make it very, very difficult for Queensland.
Well, that's the concerning part for Queensland and for Queenslanders, Gus, is that I agree with you. I think there's a lot more improvement in the Blues. And I agree with you as well with your comments saying that that they did play fairly conservative for the most part of that game. So for Queensland, not only do they have to bridge that gap from game 1 to come up to the Blues where they are, the Blues are going to get better again. So that's the big question for Billy, his coaches and the selectors, I guess, before game 2, Gal, is that side from game 1, have they got it in them to match what the Blues had in game 1 plus more in game 2, or is there going to have to be changes?
Well, as you know, I think there's got to be changes, Smith, and you're probably the bloke I want to ask about changes, because that to me the other night wasn't a Queensland performance that I've certainly played against anyway. Yes, the Blues were conservative. They had an expectation to have a high completion rate, but one thing that the Maroons weren't. They weren't tough. No. They never defended. They'd missed 49 tackles. Yeah. 49 tackles is horrible. They'll dominate in the metres gained, the post-contact metres. Now, a lot of backlash has fallen on Cherry Evans, which, as we know, those positions are generally under the most amount of pressure, but it's very, very hard for a halfback to have any sort of impact on the game when your forwards are getting totally trampled. Yeah. And they were. For the entire match, there was probably a 10-minute period where the Blues were down to 12 men, where Queensland showed a bit of energy and a bit of fight, but the Blues took it straight back off them. So where do you think they need to make changes? Because at the end of the day, they can't go and make 7 or 8 changes. Then they're starting all over again. There's probably only 2, maybe 3 changes at most that'll be made. Now, where do you think they need to be made?
Well, look, I haven't spoken to Billy about what his thoughts are going into game 2. I know he's bitterly disappointed with the performance of his team in game 1. But I'd like to think, or if he makes changes, it's going to be minimal. It'll be 1 or 2. I don't think he'll make wholesale changes. That's a huge gamble going into game 2, given that you're already down 1-0. playing in a neutral venue as well. You've got to be fairly certain of the players that you pick, and you can understand what they're going to bring to that game. A lot of talk is obviously around DCE.
Is the fact that he's the skipper too influence the decision?
Well, I guess it'd have some bearing. It's a big decision, isn't it, to leave the current captain out?
Yep.
Because then, that's a big decision to leave out Daly Cherry Evans, the captain of the Queensland. Then you've got to find the next captain. How's that player going to handle that extra pressure that comes along with having the C next to their name, leading their state?
Series on the line.
Series on the line. So there's a lot to consider for Billy. But he's all over it.
Smithy, as the greatest Queenslander ever, what was your what was your perception about not kicking the Spencer Leniu? Because at the end of the day, I know your mentality. I know Mount Meninga's mentality.
He gets cocky when he wins. But
when you go out there, Mal's told me, you attack the leaders. You would take the head off the snake, the rest will crumble around it. Now, he was out there. It was in the paper the day before, smashed this Blues grub. Yeah. And he's went away from him.
Yeah. Well, those journos weren't out there kicking off, were they?
To be fair, it's not just come from New South Welshman. No. Corey Parker, one of your great teammates, he said the same thing.
Well, you know what, mate? I don't know what the mindset is of this current footy side. The teams that I played in, I reckon we would have kicked off at Spencer.
You reckon?
And gone after him a little bit.
Yeah, I reckon you would have too.
Just to send a message. But, I think at the time, I think Billy spoke on the Sunday Footy Show around the reasoning behind that. There was some sort of tactical decision behind it. But, yeah, there was a bit of anticipation, wasn't there, really, when Spencer came on the field. He came on the field, he was on the back fence down that northern end of Suncorp Stadium. I think everyone in the stadium wanted Queensland to kick off to him, but they opted to go the other way. So it is what it is. I didn't think it was a big issue as what a lot of people made it. But I guess, in the teams that I played in, we probably would have kicked at him. Yeah.
Gus likes the idea of Reid Barney, the Doggies 9, coming into the Queensland team.
Yeah, that's an option.
Get maybe Harry Grant, which we've seen before, back to the bench. Do you see that working as something that could help in Perth?
Well, historically, right, if you look over the Harry Grant's career in State of Origin, he's played his best football off the bench, I believe. And I've seen a stat which I wasn't aware of. He's had 4 starts now for Queensland and 4 losses, I believe.
I think at that level of football, they've got to keep him out of the early battle. Yeah. Because if New South Wales get out there and have possession and punch 20 tackles into him in the first 15 minutes, it's got to take some juice out of him. Absolutely. Remembering he'd had 58 minutes of football in 4 weeks leading into that game. Yeah. Lindsay Collins had only had 1 game back leading into that game as well. They were going to be found wanting around the middle. I think the changes in personnel needs to be minimal. I think the changes in attitude needs to be significant. Yes. I think that you can help Harry Grant and make him a weapon by keeping him out of the early fray, which brings in someone like Reid Barney, who can go out there and bust himself for 20, 25 minutes until he can't walk again, and then put Harry on there, can be an effect. And I think they need one more energetic middle to absorb a fair bit of that bulk in the early part of the game where Yo and Crichton and these fellas are just punching away at their middle trying to wear them down. Yep. Other than that, you thought that was the best side going in. You've got a great spine, you've got athletic outside backs. If they can just hold their own in the middle a little bit, be a little bit more disciplined, not give up as much in the play of the ball, not give up as many penalties. Possession and momentum are a funny thing in rugby league. All of a sudden you bring DCA and Munster into it. I wouldn't drop Cherry Evans, I really wouldn't. I know the other kid did and is close, and I know he came off the bench and looked great, but he came off the bench later in the game. Let's say he goes out and starts and they punched 20 yards into him. Is he going to be able to do that after 25, 30 minutes? No, he doesn't have the experience. I think you've got to go with your skipper and go with Cherry Evans. I think they need a hooker to help Harry Grant, and I think they need just one more that can go out and blow himself out for 20 minutes in the middle, absorb a bit of the defence and the hit-ups, and get them into the contest so that they're not so rattled.
Could Kurt Mann fit into that fold?
Well, he could, because he's got great versatility. He's played pretty much every position in the back line. He can play in the middle. He plays in the middle of the field for the Bulldogs and does a fantastic job. Talk about physicality. Like, he hasn't got the biggest frame in the competition, but he loves it. He hits in defence as hard as anyone in the comp. Yep. So he could fill that role. I was going to say that's the challenge about putting another number 9 in the lineup, is that you couldn't have 2 9s plus a smaller utility.
You got to bring Horsburgh in, don't you? I mean, a bit of emotion, a bit of passion back into the Queensland.
I had Corey Horsburgh in my lineup for the first game.
So
and Billy opted to go Trent Liero was on the bench. So it'll be interesting to see if he goes for that bigger body. He's in great form at the moment. And the other thing too with Corey Horsburgh, he's a part of a side that are going really well at the moment.
While we're talking big bodies, big blow today for the Blues. Barnett, who had a belter of a game in that first Origin, ruptured ACL playing for the Warriors over the weekend. Gal, that stings.
Oh, stings. When he did it, you could see the way it buckles in there. Whenever you see someone do that, when no one's really tackling them, it's never going to end well. So, poor boy. I thought he was absolutely brilliant game one. There was a tackle he made on the right-hand side of the field where someone almost made a break. He just got over there and clipped him up and made the tackle. I thought he was brilliant. He's going to be a big loss. Big loss to the Warriors.
Who are you turning to, Gal?
Fantastic player. Look, brings Jake Trbojevic names back into it, but Big Stefano was in the entire camp for game one. So
He's not his man, wasn't he?
I'd imagine they just go straight for Stefano, unless he gets. Hopefully for him, he pulls up okay. But I suppose he's got to bring Jake's name back into it as well. He was the former captain, but I reckon I go with Stefano.
Could Max King start, Gus?
Yeah, Max could start, no risk in the world. I think Keon Kalamatangi has been outstanding. His only Origin game, he was terrific, and he's been doing a terrific job for South Sydney this year. He can play middle or edge, he can get through a lot of work. They've got a few options, but again, we've got to get through another round of football. We've got to get to next Monday night. Mitch Barnett might not be the only one from either side that's unavailable, so we're kind of
don't pick your team,
just
Gus.
pontificating here with that.
I think if Stefano gets through, I think he's probably gets the job. He was in Camp 1 the entire time, so I'd imagine it'll be him.
We're going to be
Don't pick your team, Gus. Isn't that right?
We're talking a lot of Bronco with Adam Reynolds later on, but Payne Haas, Gus, you throw the kitchen sink at him to keep him at the club, don't you?
Phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. What an athlete. Given the week that he had, under the injury cloud that he had, but he does this week in, week out for the Broncos as well. His numbers are just extraordinary. It's statistically the greatest front rower that's ever played the game. The body of work that he produces every week. Athletic, he's a cover defender. He makes breaks out wide. Yeah.
Well, look at this play here for a front rower. Get him back on a.
Well, this was late in the game. This is late in the game after he's already played on Wednesday night and he's backed up for his club a couple of nights later.
Getting smashed.
Perth might throw the whole house at him though. That's the problem.
Absolutely, they should.
I reckon they might.
We'll have to go back to the government for some money on that one.
You're not trying to recruit like
That's not true.
You get yourself in trouble for that, mate.
Media doesn't like
He's got
that.
his number on speed dial.
Don't court players through the media. Stay with us. You're watching 100% Footy. Another Blue superstar about to join us. Angus Crichton, he's in the house. A lot to talk about, from Origin to the Roosters' rise in 2025. And then it's Denny Weidler and Lachlan Galvin one-on-one. The interview we've been waiting for as he puts on the blue and white for the very first time. Stay with us.
Lockie, your manager, Isaac Moses, is despised by some people in the game, and they're saying that he put you up to this. Was this whole thing your decision or Isaac's decision?
This whole thing was my decision. I told Isaac what I wanted and he says yes. And that's basically it. I've ran this thing, I've backed myself, and I'm a pretty confident kid in that way. I've chose what I've wanted, and obviously we've got all this backlash from it, and I'll take that on the chin because it's something I've driven.
Our star in the spotlight here tonight, Angus Crichton, joining us on the back of that memorable win for the Blues. Great to see you, Angus.
Hey, thanks for having me, fellas.
Bit to get through tonight. We'll get to Origin shortly, but of course we're 24 hours after the fact. The Roosters playing host to the Raiders. Everyone's been talking about the unexpected rise of the Rooster in season 2025. But the rise of the Raider is something that's caught everyone by surprise, and you got to witness that firsthand last night. They're some team.
Yeah, they were solid, man. I think it was disappointing with sort of being really good for 60 minutes all year, and apart from that round one blowout, but just that last 20 minutes we haven't been able to get it done.
It was the ultimate match in terms of entertainment factor, tries galore. But what is it about that side that has got them to where they're sitting now on the ladder in second spot with 3 buys up their sleeve, mind you, as well?
I feel it's the experienced middle sort of got underrated a bit. Like Tarpany does such a big job for him there, Big Papa as well. Corey Horsburgh's been good as well. Even the Englishmen that they brought in, they've been unreal. So I think their forward pack's really solid, and it lets guys like Hudson on the back of it, and they're exciting OBs just go and be freaks.
And just want to ask you about Mark Nawanga-Nituaze. He's an amazing talent. I've seen him up close and personal. He's an amazing beast too. He's a big body. Mate, he does some of the most amazing things on a football field I've ever seen, and then he comes up with a hell of a lot of errors. He had made 4 last night. He made 4 when he scored that amazing try a few weeks ago. As a senior player, how do you keep his confidence up to make sure he's still able to do those amazing things, but you've got to limit some of those errors?
Yeah, I think he's still learning. That's the hard thing. You see such a freak like that and he's playing so well and doing all these crazy things, but he's played probably 5 or 6 games of league in his whole life, so I think it's just little bits of focus. That's sort of the story of our team at the minute. This was wild. I've never seen anything like that. That was when they...
It's better to go out here too when he brings it back in. It was one of the most amazing things I've ever seen.
He called upon all of his Fijian genes. That's a full Rugby Sevens clip right there. But he's a freak and he's such a great guy as well. He's fit in really well to the club and love playing with Marky.
Hey Angus, tell us about the skipper, James Tedesco. He seems like he's got a new found energy this year.
Yeah, he's at the peak of his powers this year, Ted. I think he's just so consistent. We forget, I've never seen him play a game that's under a 7. You know what I mean? His best game and his worst game are so close together, and I think it's the work that he puts in during the week. He's such a pro throughout his whole preparation, and just works so hard, does all the little things right, and leads by his actions. It's good playing under him.
Angus, last year, Joey Manu, Suoli'i, Jared Weir-Hargreaves, Luke Cleary, Brandon Smith, Sam Walker, Satili Tupanua. It's a big drain on senior experienced talent, isn't it?
I know, and somehow we still don't have any cash as well. And you guys keep signing everyone, so I don't know what's going on here. There's got to be an investigation. There's got to be an investigation.
You're more than welcome here anytime you want to.
Wait a minute. I'm trying to be nice to you.
It's
a big drain.
It is. And I think it's taken a while for us to.
I can't manage a salary cap for you. Not all you blokes have been pretty good.
I think we've invested heavily in our young boys, and they've been doing a great job for us, I think.
Who's really impressed you in those young ones?
I think Blake Steep has been huge for us. Celestia Fiketti and now seeing Benaya come through, the young hooker. He's really crafty out of 9. And
Robert Toyer?
Bobby Toyer, yeah, he's been great. I'm so happy he got his opportunity in Origin as well, like we were talking off air before. He's just a baller and just goes out there and kills it.
How about your halfback, Angus? He's going obviously, you bought Chad Townsend for a bit of experience and I suppose to help bring players on, but young Savala's been playing pretty well the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, both of them. Sanders been great, but Hugo's kick is what sort of unlocked our team a bit, being able to kick long and just sort of get into those grinds of those games because as you guys all know, you've been around rugby long enough, you just play simple and kick the corner. It's halfway to you winning a game.
Talking about halfbacks, how's Sammy Walker going, mate? Is he close to being back?
Yeah, good, really close. I think he might even be having a little trot in the coming weeks, maybe like 40 minutes in reserve grade soon. So I don't know if that's a scoop for you guys or not, if I'm talking out of tongue, but...
We don't have scoops here,
So where does DCE fit into all this?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. And I think you guys probably know more than me. I haven't heard anything, but... Obviously, he's a great player and adds value wherever he goes. I'll just be disappointed if we lose any of our young guys that are doing such a great job for us. Sen and Hugo have been huge for us this year, and hopefully we can make sure everyone can stay.
I think Sammy Walker makes a big difference. I mean, a number of the games this year, you've kind of been in front at that hour mark, and you just haven't been able to quite finish it off. Like the game against the Raiders, you were so much in that contest, but they just got a little better of you late.
I don't know how we were in that contest, to be fair. We were dropping balls all over the park and, we were acting like we didn't want to win the game. So the fact that we were up at half-time was wild, but I think the bones of a good, strong team's there, and putting Sammy in will definitely help boost that. I think he scores tries out of nowhere, the points just sort of flow off him with his short kicks. He's got the best short kick I've ever seen. He can kick it. He lifts his foot up to hit the ball out of his hand pretty much, so you can't defend it. So it'd be good to have him back.
I know Joey Manu's been doing some workouts in your gym lately. He's back for a fortnight.
Yeah.
Have you seen him around the SFS?
I saw him in at training on captain's run, and he obviously came to the game as well.
You getting in his ear?
Good to see Joey back. I think he's off to France. So.
Is he enjoying it?
He's loving it. I think. I said to him, "How's the body feeling?" He said you make 3 tackles a game and take 5 runs. So
living the dream. Half his luck, and there he is, living it up. He'd be welcome back with open arms.
All right, Origin, what was your take on the game in game 1?
I feel to start the game, it didn't feel like a regular Origin game. It felt like it was stop-start, and there were penalties, and errors as well, which is like some of the games I've played in it's just end to end, and you
It's the opposite of Game 3 last year, right?
Literally, but it was still that fierce sort of contest and that battle that we have. I feel like we were just a super connected team, and like you guys were talking earlier, we just stuck to the process and sort of ground them down. But they're a champion side. We know that they'll be back.
Mitch Moses played 5'8" on the left. He was your partner across there. How did you find working with him?
Yeah, I love running off him. I think he's so fast. His running game's super underrated, and I think when he takes off, it took me a while early in the week because we were training in the wet, and then when we had our first session on like a fast deck out at Penrith that day, he was getting too far ahead of me. I didn't realise how quick he was. So, just got to try and be nice and flat with him and take off and be ready for the ball at any time. He doesn't even think, he just grabs it and rips it to you. So,
What about your time with Laurie Daly? I love playing under Laurie. I could feel his emotion and his connection to the jersey when he spoke about it. Did you feel that? And did you enjoy playing under him?
Yeah, for sure. I loved it. I think he's obviously a legend of the Blues himself as a player, and he's coached a lot of games as well, so he's he's been in the arena a lot of times before. So to see his passion and his drive and the way he loves the jersey is pretty special.
Did you see much of him play?
I've seen highlights, but I would have been...
Gus's favourite of all time.
Yeah, I've heard that from a few people. But seeing these pictures of him in the box blowing up, mate, I love that kind of stuff. It makes you that keen.
That's the passion. Now, from here to Perth, that's the big challenge, to back it up and do what you've got to do. Is there another gear? Is there more than that from this Blues side?
I think definitely. That game was just off one sort of week of training, and half of it was underwater. So we've got plenty of work we need to do. We definitely won't be relying on what we've done in game 1. I think we've got to go and recreate it. We've got to go and build those combinations again and keep working with it, because we've got a really good core group there. The more we can build on that, the better we'll be.
Well, you're part of the Blues forward pack. Who comes in for Mitch Barney? Obviously, unfortunate injury to him.
Yeah, sending my love to Mitch. Barney, he's such a big part of our team, and to see him go down like that, we love you, mate, and rest up and get right. But I don't know who comes in. I think there's a few names.
Don't tell him, mate. He's a Queenslander.
Being floated up. I won't tell him. Don't worry. I won't tell him.
Just curious. Just a curious fan.
Of course you're curious.
He's part of the media.
So
he's becoming part of the media.
I don't know. But you guys were floating Keon. But no, we've got plenty of who anyone could. Any of those guys you were talking about could do it.
Good options. Great depth. In amongst all this is Nathan Cleary doing what Nathan Cleary does. A lot of scuttle around in the rugby union world lately, Gus, about Nathan maybe being interested in heading over to the 15-man code, rugby union, where you obviously plied your trade, and I know it's always there on the horizon as a potential option for you later on. Could you see Nathan playing a role of a 10 in a Wallabies jersey?
For sure. I think he'd suit it down to a T. But I don't know if he'll ever leave Penrith. I think, what they've achieved there and his legacy there is something that I'm sure that he thinks about. But also, he would kill it in Union.
Yeah. If he goes to Union, I'll fly to Mars. That is much sense.
Make sure we clip this.
What, do you want me to go to Mars?
No, imagine, the first Channel 9 worker to go to Mars.
First human.
Imagine the tweets.
Marking out a footy field, I can imagine him there. No doubt about that. What about you, though? Rugby union? Is it still in there?
I've learnt my lessons. I don't talk about any union.
Angus Price, he wants to know when you're off contract. He's doing a bit of recruitment for the Bears.
2027, mate.
I'm signed next year. I don't know what I'm doing after next year, but love the club, and I wouldn't want to be anywhere else.
I could see you on Cottesloe Beach, mate, going for a
stroll. Well, he'll be over there in a couple of weeks. He'll check out the. That's true. Check out the sites.
We'll have a coffee, mate.
Yeah.
What's the weather in Perth today? Mild, 23 degrees or something?
Always.
Yeah.
Always. Every single day. Mate, great to have you in here.
Cheers,
loved
boys.
watching what unfolded, particularly if you're a Blues fan out there last Wednesday, and bring on Perth.
No worries. Thanks, lads.
Angus Crichton joining us here on 100% Footy. Stay with us in just a moment. One of those players that Gus sized up and the doggies got. Yes, one-on-one. We've been waiting for this. Lachlan Galvin with Denny Wyther, and Denny joins us too for all the scuttle surrounding it. That's next here on 100%.
Lockie, first of all, how are you mentally, physically?
No, I'm going good. Obviously, it's probably been a big couple months for me. I think I handle it all right. It's probably the worst thing for me is probably it affects your family more than myself. I think they've done nothing. It's all me really doing it, and they're getting a bit of the blame for that. So that's probably the hardest thing, seeing them struggle a bit.
The day you knocked back $6 million or so from the West Tigers, that must be a bizarre day in your life, because that's not going to happen too often.
Yeah, money was really never a massive thing of playing. That was never really me. I just played because I loved the game, played with my brothers in the backyard and that. So people are going to see that and think, oh, that's stupid. You could have set your life up or whatever.
You told the Tigers early because you wanted to at least give them the chance to rebuild, but that's been criticised.
It probably come out in a bad way. They kind of asked, obviously, Isaac and us if we want to look at the deal and that, and we just thought telling them early and letting them know that I wasn't going to hang around, and we obviously didn't ask for a release or nothing back then, and we probably won't be here at the end of my contract, and like happy days, move on, and I'll play the rest of the couple of years out for the Tigers, but obviously it went a bit different.
The most controversial part of all of that was that the reason you gave was because you felt you wanted to be coached differently or you could develop elsewhere. Is that fair to say?
It wasn't coaching, it was more just developing, and that was all on me. I just felt like to improve myself, I wanted a change and a move, and it wasn't because of Benji, it wasn't because of Richo or none of that. It was nothing because of them, it was because I just felt a change would get me out of my comfort zone, would probably be best thing for me, and I'm not usually the kid that would really want to do that. I think I like staying around, and I've got some of my best mates at the Tigers, and for me to develop as a player, I think moving and meeting new people and understanding new systems, that was probably the best thing for my rugby league career.
Do you feel Benji's a reasonable coach?
I'm so grateful for Benji giving me my debut and putting faith in me to play my skill and play my footy. He's a great fella. He's actually a great bloke, and nothing bad towards Benji.
Did you feel that was misinterpreted?
Yeah, I thought it was misinterpreted a bit, but at the end of the day, people are going to have their opinion, and they're allowed to have that.
Lockie, the Instagram posts from a couple of players, from Jerome Luai, do you get impacted by those Instagram posts?
That's probably something I can't really talk about at the moment. Leaving the club, we obviously had an agreement where there's some things we probably can't talk about, and that's probably, obviously one of the things we can't talk about, so I'll leave that.
Do you and Jerome not get along?
People like to think we don't. We do. Me and Jerome got on fine. We probably weren't going over each other's houses, having sleepovers and that, because
not every teammate's like that.
100%.
Right?
Like, we were only together for a short period of time, but we always got on. We always spoke. We always talked, and people like to think that we never got on.
What was being said was that you were jealous of Jerome because he came into the side and got to be the big dog. Did you feel jilted or slighted?
I never walked in once into Concord thinking, oh, stuff him, he's coming here and taking all the reins and all that. I never thought that once, and people obviously can assume that, and obviously, like I said, they can have their opinions. When
you were telling the Tigers players about what was going on, is it true they mocked you or turned their back on you?
No, that never happened.
Wow, that surprised me.
Never happened. I got up in front of them twice, and because we had a full team meeting with coaches, and then we had just a players meeting, and I got up and I spoke to them all, and they all got behind me. That was never the truth. I seen that, and a lot of them were supportive.
Lockie, your manager Isaac Moses is despised by some people in the game, and they're saying that he put you up to this. Was this whole thing your decision or Isaac's decision?
This whole thing was my decision. I had told Isaac what I wanted, and he says yes, and that's basically it. I've ran this thing. I've backed myself, and I'm a pretty confident kid in that way. I've chose what I've wanted, and obviously we've got all this backlash from it, and I'll take that on the chin because it's something I've driven.
You say that with confidence, but people may not believe you, but it's genuinely what happened.
Obviously, he's my manager, and he has a big role to do in my career, and obviously my parents do as well, but I can say wholeheartedly that this was all driven by me.
Were the Bulldogs always going to be your destination?
No, we spoke to Para as well. I obviously met Rolsey, and he was a great guy, and obviously met Ciro as well, and we spoke to both of them, but at the end of the day, obviously I've chose the Doggies.
Why the Bulldogs?
I think meeting Ciro, I think the way he spoke to me, and how he has this club running at the moment. Obviously, it's something I want to be a part of. Just watching them the last couple months and seeing what they're building is obviously pretty cool too. You know, they're coming first on the ladder. That's pretty weird to go into a side that's obviously going so good, and yeah, I'm pretty grateful that they're one of the clubs after me.
Were you close to Parramatta?
Rolls is obviously such a great guy. I wouldn't say either or, like we're pretty close to both of them, and but at the end of the day, we obviously, as me and my family and Isaac and Adam and that, we all had our chats, and obviously it's my decision what club I've got to go through to the next 3 years, and yeah, I chose the Dogs.
How many times did you change your mind, do you reckon?
I don't reckon I changed my mind. It was just think of the positives for this club, think of the positives, put them all together, and at the end of the day, yeah, it was the Dogs.
I sit on a panel with Gus Gould, and he's been heavily criticised for trying to use his media position and by saying you're the best young player he's seen. Did Gus play a big role in signing you? Who led the charge from the Bulldogs?
Oh, it was obviously Cameron Serrato. And honestly, what Gus was saying, I didn't meet Gus till yesterday.
You have to earn your jersey. Would you care if you started in reserve grade or off the bench?
No, we've already spoke to Sarah about that. We've had long talks about reserve grade and coming off the bench, and I'm all for it. It's whatever is best for that team, and obviously they are coming first and they're going good. I don't expect to walk into that team straight away.
Lockie, could you play halfback?
Yeah.
You feel confident you could guide a team?
Yep.
Is there any indication from Cameron Serrato, were you told we're signing you to play a certain position?
He threw up a number of positions actually. It was quite surprising. So yeah, I'm going there practicing all the crafts for a lot of positions.
The Bulldogs love a utility. They're on a real path, the Bulldogs, aren't they? They seem to be, you know, they've got a steel about them that they want to be not just a good side this year, but a good side for a long time. As me and Ciro probably spoken about, we're not there for a couple of weeks. We're there for 3 years or 3.5 years on the contract. We're not here to just win next week. We're here to win the next 3.5 years. Probably a tough question. There's a lot of Tigers fans who are really going to dislike you and will never forgive you. What do you say to that? No, I understand where they're coming from. I think they can have their opinion and they can have their, obviously, hatred and that against me, and I understand that. And I think the main thing is I never wanted to disrespect the club. I never wanted to, like, hurt the club or whatever, and I'm just doing it for my best interest, I think. And, yeah, I hope the best success for the whole club and the whole organisation.
So young, so confident. What an intriguing conversation. Lachlan Galvin one-on-one with Danny Weidler there in a wide-ranging interview. We've heard so much spoken about him. Danny, your biggest takeaway from actually hearing from the man himself?
Impressive kid. So young, like you said, but highly impressive. I all day, every day, I interview football players and of all ages, and I have to say I was blown away by how composed, how calm, how well thought out. So when we sat down for the interview, he didn't say to me, there are no questions off limits. He didn't ask me what I was going to ask. He just sat down and wanted to face the music, and he wanted to tell his story, and he got the chance to do that. And I was really, really impressed, and I can see why clubs would want to have him. He's young. He's still young. That's what struck me. He's got the baby face. And
what about the Dream Chaser shirt on too? That just said it all to me.
He said someone sent it to him and he wore it. You know? So I don't know how much. I don't know if the Dogs would be happy he wasn't in a Bulldogs outfit, but the Dogs didn't know. The Dogs didn't actually know we were doing it. It wasn't organised through Canterbury, and we did the interview, and I was just impressed with the young man that he is. He owned a lot of things. I think my biggest takeaway was, there's been a hell of a lot of criticism that, Isaac Moses is this puppet master who's made him suddenly leave the Tigers for his own purposes because he doesn't like Benji Marshall. You saw then Lachlan Galvin came out and said, it's all on him. Yep. He orchestrated it. He wanted it to happen. He made it happen. There were things he couldn't talk about, obviously, bullying, because that was part of his settlement to leave. And Gus, I think you've got a good one in terms of a human, and he's got a lot of. I think he's got more developing to do as a footballer. You'd know that better than I would, but as a human being, he seems like a good kid.
Yeah, he certainly does. I think that interview, as much as you learned about Lachlan Galvin, I think it teaches us just as much about our media, our rugby league media, and everything we've been in what we've been reading over the last few months about relationships with Tigers players, about relationships with the club itself, about who instigated the move to him coming to the Bulldogs, about who he's met and who he hasn't met. That's from the horse's mouth, right? Yet that's completely different to the narrative that's been tried to be created over the last few weeks. Which,
a couple of things shocked me.
For a kid like that, and it's one of the things points I've been trying to make through all this. You don't understand what the media does to family. He was more worried about his family than himself. He said he brought this on himself, he did this himself, and it was his decision to do all this. But here are the facts. Here's my relationship with the West Tigers. This is why I've made the decision, and this is why I went to the Bulldogs. Now, that's completely different to the narrative that we've had to put up with in the media.
Look,
that all brushes off us. I just don't know how it brushes off a 20-year-old kid like that, how he could be so direct and so composed and even do the interview. Like, 99% of kids would avoid that interview. Like, they would say no. Their club wouldn't let them do it. Well, you didn't tell us you were doing the interview, which we'll talk about later. But the effects that all of that media has on their family is incredible. Incredible. But what he showed you there is obviously his class and his maturity, and for one so young. And the really good point he made there, we've signed him for 3.5 years, not for 3 weeks. And that's a message we've given our coaching staff and everybody else. This doesn't have to be done in the next 3 weeks. It's about the player we're buying is the player we expect him to be in 3 years' time.
I think for the part of the backlash, I think you've got to understand some of the backlash. So he did have a contract to the West Tigers that he's walked out on. So I think you've got to understand why West Tigers fans in particular are upset.
Just on that point, and he made that point. He said, I'm not extending my contract when it's over.
No, I understand that.
I'm quite happy to play here for the next 18 months.
I understand that.
Events after that.
For me personally, I would love to have seen him finish this year out and then go to the Dogs. I think it was untenable when the stories come out that he wanted to be coached by someone else. He obviously said that wasn't true, which is fair enough. But I think you got to understand, West Tigers fans, it's fair enough they're upset about what's happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I hate players losing. You go back to my podcast, I said 2 or 3 times in the last 2 or 3 years, I hope the West Tigers hold on to him. I don't like clubs using talented young players. But you listen to Lachlan Galvin there, it's his decision. He's made it for certain reasons. And this is how it went down. Simple as that.
The intense scrutiny doesn't end here. If anything, it only intensifies, Denny, particularly leading into the first game that he'll be playing.
Well, we're sitting here with the top dog, and he's not going to tell me if he's playing or not, but I'd imagine that Cameron Ciraldo's got a big decision to make. I think he'll be named somewhere in the Bulldogs squad to play the game. I reckon they might name more than 20 players, and he'll be part of that. And then they'll...
And it's against the Eels.
Against the Eels.
Club that missed out on him.
Yeah, which makes it even spicier. And there could be, 70,000 or whatever, because it with $10 tickets, But I think he'll be named somewhere in that squad. And whether he comes straight in or if he's a bench player, I don't know. But I think Cameron Ciraldo's had him for a couple of training sessions already, and he'll want to just see how he fits into that Dogs
I think it's
system.
fair to say there's a bit of pressure on him. He's 19, 20 years of age. He's played 31 games in first grade. He's an amazing talent, as we know. But if he comes into this Dogs side somewhere, and all of a sudden you start on the slippery slope, it's going to fall back on him.
Gus, you going to give us a scoop? You going to tell us if he's playing or not?
I don't know if he's playing. What I do know is, and we've had this discussion amongst the coaching staff, or they've had the discussion while I was there, and like I said to them, one thing I said to them, it's 3 years, not 3 weeks.
So do you protect him a little bit? Do you protect him a bit?
He'll tell us when he's going to play.
What I'm asking is, do you protect him a bit and keep him in reserve?
You want an answer now? I haven't got one for you. I don't know. And I don't think the coach will know till later this week, until he's had a few sessions with them. But at the moment, my message is, we've signed him for 3 years, not 3 weeks. We don't have to solve this problem now. The side is sitting on top of the competition. They've won 9 out of 11.
You've got to understand, if you're a Bulldogs fan, you bring this bloke in, you change the side, and you start losing a few games.
Well,
they're not going to be happy.
That sort of stuff doesn't scare us at all. Losing doesn't scare us. And it won't be because of Lachlan Galvin that we lose games. It's not part of what we are. We don't care.
Any news yet on Toby Sexton and his future at the club? Has anything changed since last Monday?
Toby's there training. Toby had his best training session of the year today. He was absolutely outstanding. You don't know what goes on in our club. What you hear from the media, you don't know what goes on in our club.
We try, though. We try.
Nor are we obliged to tell you. Nor are we obliged to tell you what goes on in our club. We just get on with our stuff.
Now, if he missed out on a famous Phil Gould Chinese meal, can you take him out for one? He didn't get the opportunity. You didn't get to court him. At least not privately.
Yeah, if and when he wins a game for us.
Right, okay.
But you don't care about winning or losing?
Then he gets one.
No, well, you know, we're in it for the long haul. 3 years, not 3 weeks. We're bought him for the player he's going to be.
Great to hear from him regardless.
Yeah, credit to him. He really handled himself well, I think.
Well, I just, as a spectator now and as a fan, I just want to see him play good footy. He's 19 years of age. There's been a hell of a lot of fuss made over a 19-year-old. I just want to see him go play good footy, play the way he thinks he can. He's very confident. You can't doubt how confident he's going to be. So I can see him being a halfback, but I just want to see him play good footy. Play good footy and live up to some of the expectation.
Just needs to learn to wear a beanie properly and do something about that hair. That's the genuine bowl cut, the Lloyd Christmas bowl cut. It's brilliant. That's all I noticed.
We haven't all got perfect
I wouldn't
hair
talk
like
about hairdos, Toy Boy.
Toy boy. Pretty boy. I'm clinging on to mine. Some great scuttles. Stay with us. Save me. Adam Reynolds. Yes, he's standing by. We're going to have a chat with the great Reno. Bit doing it the Broncos. That'll defer some of the attention. Stay with us. 100% footy with that man right after the break.
Pleasure today to introduce the head coach of the Brisbane Broncos.
I'm a different coach now. I believe I'm a way better coach because of everything that I've been through.
Cobbo spears his way over. A huge opening round win.
It was a demolition job at Allianz Stadium.
And there's the half century.
They'll be there towards the end of the year.
Every organisation is different.
My goodness, they've scored some stunning tries tonight.
We know the Broncos can win brilliantly.
Depending on that timing and the group and the outcomes you get each week.
It's the tough, grindy side of the Broncos that I'm sure Madge will be looking to implement into the team.
Suncorp erupts!
Absolutely phenomenal.
Broncos forward Martin Tupper all liking an Instagram post critical of Maguire's coaching methods.
I think Madge would have been happy.
2 words that I don't hear much, Madge and happy.
What a night! What a boil over!
A bit like a bit of a Jekyll and Hyde team, really.
Golden point underway here.
You know, we show such great stuff and then we sort of go the other way.
Has he overcooked it? He has!
Never nice, you know, losing like that.
Direction is fantastic!
Are they making the 8? They've lost 6 of their last 7 now.
You can see the frustration.
They don't work hard for each other at all.
They look flat and uninterested at times.
Oh, wow!
They want to trick shot their way to victory. They don't want to do it with hard work. You hear the stories coming out. It's that Madge is trying them too hard.
That has to work that way at every single club, doesn't it?
Well, they're the biggest club in the comps. If you're the biggest and the best, you need to act like that.
Brisbane's in all sorts, an absolute all sorts.
Yes, they come under scrutiny like no other club, the Brisbane Broncos, and with 4 straight losses on the card too. The Burners are on full blast at the moment as they struggle to find their way through an NRL season that showed so much promise pre-season. And he's been good enough to join us tonight, the number 7, the general for this Brisbane Broncos side, Adam Reynolds. Reno, always great to catch up. You've seen it all in this game and you're a competitor to say the least. Where the team sits right now, 5 wins, 7 losses. How did it get to this point, mate?
Yeah, obviously started the year the way we'd liked, but obviously as of late, things haven't been quite the way we want it. But I can tell you that we're a tight bunch of boys. We're working extremely hard to turn things around, and we're showing glimpses in matches at the moment. We're just not constantly doing it for 80 minutes. Yeah, so obviously get back to the drawing board and, got a good opportunity again this Saturday.
Reno, there's a lot of talk about the coach, Michael Maguire, that he's too tough and the players aren't quite liking his style of coaching. Can you knock that on the head right now?
Yeah, it's easy for the outside noise to obviously try and tear the team apart and the coaching staff. Look, we're working hard. We're just like any other team who train hard. Obviously, everyone can write what they want to write, but internally, we know we're capable of, doing some great things here. And Madge is the right man leading us forward.
Reno, the talent in your side is absolutely unquestionable. It's probably one of the best rosters in the competition. But you said it yourself, you play good for patches of matches. How do you make sure you play well for 80 minutes and you work hard for each other, which to me, from an outside looking in, seems individually you're doing your job, but you're not working together as a team?
Yeah, I think, and that's where the frustration comes. We're good in patches, then we come up with, 1 or 2 bad mistakes. And I think internally we sort of turn to ourselves a little bit, something we've spoken about, obviously, errors and whatnot happen in games. It's just about getting on with it and, getting back into our groove. And that's an area that we spoke about we need to be better. And, I thought for large parts of the game on the weekend, we were the better team. Obviously, didn't get the points on the board, but, a lot of positives to take out of that. Also some things to work on.
Adam, I heard you say that after the game on against Manly at Brookvale the other night. You were actually interviewed after the game on the field, straight after the contest, and said there were positives out of that part of the game, and there were parts of the game where you felt like you were on top, yet the scoreboard ran against you by a long way. What were those positives that you were feeling during the contest?
Yeah, I think the second half, the start of that, we really wanted to get out there and make it an arm wrestle, kick the corners, and just build pressure. I thought in the first half, defensively, we were quite poor. We weren't moving the footy, or when we did, we made some errors, so we probably went internally a bit again there. But in the second half, it was about a 20-minute arm wrestle, 20-minute period there where we thought we were right on top. Unfortunately, we come up with an error and let all the pressure off, but if we can stick in moments a lot longer like that, we know we can come out the other end.
Do you think the major issues are in the physical parts of the game or the mental part of the game? Because in a lot of the games that I've seen you play, they don't seem to handle setbacks well. When something goes against them, it usually costs them points. Does it feel like that when you're out there? Here we go again.
Yeah, I think mentally we need to be a lot more resilient. Like you said there, obviously errors and execution, when they're not great, I think sometimes we can go internally and become individuals. That's not the way we want to be. We want to be united and do it together as a team. Everyone goes out there, to play their best football. Unfortunately, we do make errors, and it's a part of the game. And it's just about moving on and getting back to the game plan as quick as possible.
There's been speculation about your future. I believe you're off contract at the end of the year. Now, a couple of years ago when you first went to the Broncos, I was talking to you up in Brisbane, and you said you were loving life up there. It was a big change, a breath of fresh air from moving away from Sydney. In that conversation, I could never see you coming back to Sydney to play NRL football. Is that still the case with you?
Yeah, it's obviously been dealt with in the background. The family, we all love it up here. It's such a great place. Everyone's footy mad and a bit different to Sydney, but we're loving our time up here. Obviously, it's not my focus at the moment. It's trying to get a win for the Broncos and, quieten this noise a little bit, and then obviously that'll handle itself in the background.
Reno, your halves partner, Ezra Mann, has come back into the side after, some off-field issues. How's he going? How's he handling the pressure, particularly he faced the other night?
Yeah, I'm really proud of Ez. I think, the way he's handled himself, he's copped a lot of criticism and, rightfully so. He made a mistake as a young man. He's worked extremely hard on himself to get himself back to where he is, and he's done a lot of, work in the background that not a lot of people see, and obviously he's copping the brunt of it, from away fans and whatnot, which, everyone's entitled to their opinions, but, I thought he's handled himself excellently. He's come back and he's probably been, our best player out of those two games. So it's good to have the little fella back in the team, and, I'm sure we'll, click again and get the ball rolling.
Reno, other than sorting out your next year at the club, priority number one, does it have to be securing Payne Haas's services? And are you worried that this lean patch could get him to start eyeing off other suitors?
Look, Payne's a big part of our team. He's a big part of the club and has been his whole life. So, no doubt, he's a major priority for the club to get locked up. But I think with losing games and whatnot, the outside noise can, create whatever headlines they want to create. But once again, internally, we're pretty confident that Payne will be a Bronco.
Reno, huge congratulations from everyone here. 300 games this weekend. Firstly, huge milestone. What does that mean to you and the family? And you got a couple of highlights from those 300?
Yeah, it's obviously a privilege to play one game in the NRL, let alone 300. It's certainly a milestone that I never thought I'd reach. I would have been happy with one first grade game. A kid from Redfern who just loves the game, continually, striving to get better each and every day. And I got a lot of people to thank over my time, friends, family, coaches. I think my wife deserves a lot of the credit. She's been the backbone to everything I've done. They ride the roller coaster as much as the players do. So, Yeah, big thank you goes to her. But I think, your debut, winning a grand final, playing for your state, those will be the highlights of the career.
And great to see those black jerseys being rolled out in support of the Black Dog Institute and mental health awareness for that big milestone game, mate. Congratulations on the big 300 this Saturday against the Gold Coast at Suncorp Stadium. Another 350, mate, and you'll still be second. Mate Cameron here, mate. All the best, Renato.
Thank you. Cheers,
Good
guys.
on you, mate. Congratulations, Adam Reynolds, in the face of adversity at the moment with the Brisbane Broncos joining us. So, Cameron, off the back of that, so there's a lot of that scuttle surrounding perhaps the future of Payne, whether or not it's Perth or somewhere else that he might go. The talk is that Mal Meninga is going to be announced as the Perth Bears coach as soon as this week. That leaves a vacancy for the Kangaroos coaching job.
Right.
Upsets Kevin Smith, one of the greatest of all time.
Well, I don't know. No one's asked me. No one's approached me, Brace. I'll say that much. No one's spoken to me about it. I have seen a few articles out there and my name tossed up there, but
would you put your hand up for it?
There's some pretty good candidates out there.
Yeah, but
Freddie's one.
To be fair, Smith, you are one of the greats. I know you're modest, but would you put your hand up for it?
I think a lot of people have asked me, at the back end of my career, when I was recently retired, would you ever coach? I emphatically said no. But if there was one team out there that it would gain my interest to coach, it would be the Kangaroos, absolutely. You're dealing with the best of the best. As far as the calendar's concerned, when those commitments occur, it's at the end of the year, so that works in with my commitments with commentary. But yeah, there's been no sort of discussion at all with anyone.
I think you'd be sort of perfect because you've been on tours, you know what tours should look like, you know what short-term preparations look like, you know what post-season test matches look like and how challenging they could be. So I think someone who had the experience, and I think that's where Mal's been so good for Australia because he's been through that himself. It's not an easy level to coach, but it's best if you've had some experience. You've had more experience than anyone. How many tests did you play? 40-odd? 50?
56.
56, yeah. That's a career, isn't it?
That's, my God.
That's a legend. That's a legend right there.
It's quite the CV. If anyone does call you, surely it's just to offer it.
I like how he knew the number.
Yeah,
56.
he's got it tattooed on the arm. All right, well, we'll watch with interest to see how that all unfolds. You're about to feature in our next segment too, our Cash Converters conversion of the week, because obviously, how can you go past the one, the only from the weekend, Zach Lomax? Because, look, it's always a battle when you've got a slippery pitch and you're on the sideline. We've seen it many times before. But the best thing about this is hits the deck, slots it.
When you're on, when you're hot, you're hot.
And of
hot
course,
on Wednesday. Actually, he missed his goal on Wednesday, didn't he?
Yeah, but he made up for it.
Yeah.
He made up for it there, but that just reminds us of some of the great moments that we've seen over in the past. Yeah, the old SFS. Look at
Black
that.
Dot.
Oh, yeah.
Black Dot.
Wasn't he happy with it?
I only did that because I had about 300 Roosters fans just absolutely giving it to me. About
And you were
half
probably
a metre
40
away.
in front too. So.
No, we weren't. We might have been a couple in front.
Should we go there? Should we go there with another Kangaroos legend? Yeah. Why not? Lockie, don't wear it.
Poor Lockie missed it, they went nowhere near it.
That's a con make, isn't it?
He was in the RS Williams. He wasn't. He didn't
was
have the
always
boots
going to
on.
fall out.
We could all see it coming.
It's so slippery.
And the nice new chinos too.
Oh, the tan chinos. Oh,
not good. Brilliant stuff. There you go. Our Cash Converters conversion of the week, and you got the feature, Cameron. Stay with us. We're back with our Tab Top 3 right after this break. You're watching 100%. Welcome back to 100% Footy, our Tab Top 3. We're going for our leading try scorers of all time. You know why, but first, you've got to go back into history. The great Billy Slater, and Bill, seriously, he's arguably, if not the greatest fullback of all time. And Gary got to play with him, got to play against him.
He was a genius. Cameron Smith was the best I played with or against, but he was the best fullback. He was unbelievable. I got to play Minicelli, he was outstanding. But this guy was unbelievable. I've never seen anybody prepare for a game better than what this guy did. He knew everything about every player in the opposition. He was an absolute superstar. You've got to remember, he missed at least, I reckon, 30, maybe 40 games of footy over a couple of year period with those shoulder issues. So I've got to be honest, I think if he played every game he could have, he breaks a record easily.
No doubt.
But unfortunately, injuries are part of life, and but he was an absolute superstar, Billy Sladen. Pleasure to play with and now work with, obviously, but he's a great guy.
Well, it's all about our leading try scorers of all time because of what unfolded over the weekend. Alex Johnston out there for the South Sydney Rabbitohs, reaching that 200 milestone. Gus with a hat-trick in this clash.
Yeah, well, if you play on the end of this South Sydney back line, you're going to score plenty of tries. Alex Johnston coming through was actually a standout fullback in the junior reps and school program. He was probably the best fullback of his age group. Got his start on the wing because of South Sydney. I think he might have come in at the time when Greg Inglis was playing for them, and now he's got Latrell Mitchell. He never really got the opportunity to cement down the fullback spot. And thankfully he didn't, because out on the wing now, he looks like setting the longest standing record ever in the game. Had he played every season, like you were saying with Billy Slater, he would have scored a lot more by now. But you've got to think too, like back in the old days, Ken Irvine didn't play as many games either. Like there was only so many games in a season. The other side of that is they didn't have a bunker back in the 50s. They would have disallowed a lot of tries.
So what are you saying? He shouldn't have got as many as he did, or he would have got more?
Well, the bunker would have taken him off him. The fun police would have got him. That 212 would have been about 88, you know.
Well, let's have a squeeze.
If they had a bunker back then.
Of course, the one that you only imagine a bunker back then. Technology, but of course, Ken Irvine, the greatest of all time, the mighty North Sydney Bears, 212.
There you go, Bunker would have said that was a knock-on.
That was a knock-on. You should have taken that one off the try scorer list. That was a knock-on every day of the week.
Knock-on, yeah. Bunker would have said, yeah.
Great ball.
I don't know how many he bobbled in the in goal or anything like that, you know.
So how would that work with the film too? They go
I think he was a Commonwealth Games class runner, wasn't he? He was a sprinter.
Right, he had a good head of hair. And
200. How many games do you reckon they played a season back then? More than 20?
No.
So 212 tries, that's an amazing effort back then. Far out.
Well, there you go, our tab top three, greatest try scorers of all time. Well done, Alex Johnston. Yeah. Kenny, he's coming for you. Stay with us after the break. We wrap things up. 100% footy, all right here on...
Should be in brackets, bunker free.
Beanie for Brain Cancer Round, always a highlight of the Rugby League calendar. Round 17, not too far away now. Our Matty, of course, so close to the heart of everyone here at Nine's Wide World of Sports, Matt Callender, who passed after his battle with brain cancer. These funds raised from donations, of course, the purchase of a beanie, all this amazing awareness being raised, the Mark Hughes Foundation, their amazing work, it just gets bigger and better every year, and we love being a part of it. And of course, the highlight of the year is when Gus sells beanies by wearing them. It's so good.
Really comfortable this year.
Yeah, I like that. The colour
really nice. I got no eyebrows to keep my head warm, so.
Go, you look good.
This one's all right.
Feel all right?
Yeah. I think I reckon I'd get your one though.
This one?
This is the unisex one, but I reckon...
I'll do the Lachlan Galvin. There we go. There's the Lachlan Galvin.
Look like a Smurf.
I do look a bit...
Actually, mine's the Smurf colour. Gus looks like a criminal.
Oh, he does.
God, seriously.
It's the best. I could look at it all day.
Well, if you listen to the media, I am.
Is it a violin anywhere around here, guys?
You'll be right, mate.
You're the best. So, Beanie for Brain Cancer Round. You can get your beanies now. Get out there, get amongst it. Of course, markhughesfoundation.com.au. Now, this weekend, there's some footy from Thursday through to Monday. What do you got for us here?
I'm going to go all the away teams this week, or these games anyway. I'm going to go the Manly, Dragons and the Panthers.
Gus, if you can see.
Manly, Dolphin,
Panther. Panther? They're back, baby.
Yeah.
Thank you, gents.
Jeez, Dolphin, Dragon, that's a hard one.
We've had a show tonight, haven't we?
Been very, very busy.
Good show. Very busy,
yeah.
As you have, Gus. Thank you, Gal.
Thank you.
Looking fighting fit as you prep for Sunny Bill.
I'll write a book one day, Joe.
Thank you, Gus. I'm
one day.
Desperate for you too.
I mightn't live long enough to do it.
Imagine the thickness of it too. You can release it when you
12 volumes.
Yep. Thank you very much for your company, as always. We're saluting Lachlan Galvin tonight. We'll catch you next week. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
This has been another presentation from Nine's Wide World of Sports.